Of course, I forgot to turn that off. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dark Avenger Live. We are live. This is the first Dark Avenger Live of the new year. So, hopefully, you all had a happy new year. Hello, 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 Brilly. Welcome in. Welcome. So, tonight's show is going to be a bit of a catch up for all of you. I'm sorry, I'm fixing the sheet a little bit. This is the holiday sheet. I didn't even get to really use that much. So, I'm going to catch all of y'all up on what's been going on because the past couple of months, unfortunately, things have not been uploading. And then we entered the new year and a bunch of new things are coming out. And you're like, what's going on? What? So I'm going to help you all and I'm going to explain what is. So really quickly, I released this image, which I'm trying to have uploaded now because I'm so ready. It was this image, which is day one. So with 2024 starting, I really wanted to enter 2024 hardcore. And so I came up with the poster and the idea of day one. I heard The Rocks. I was on, I think it was a YouTube short. It was either a YouTube short or a, what do you call it? TikTok, and I was like, I like that idea. And Dark Avenger DA, you just add the Y and one, and then of course all the different colors, as you know, go for all the different channels. So I figured 2024 starts. The end of 2023 was very busy. Let's start the new year fresh. Let's take some of the ideas I've been wanting to do, and like I said, I was holding back on because I wanted to catch the reviews up and get those started while also at some point catching the reviews up. So a lot of new things started. We had 365, which is basically a huge project I'm working on. It is 365 videos in 365 days. However, as it was given to me after I started, we're in leap year. So there's 366 days in this year. So hooray, there's going to be a extra day special in between all this. So what 365 is going to be is anything, any type of short. We're talking comic review, card opening, skit, random life video, lip sync, whatever. I've had so many audios that I favorited throughout my entire time on TikTok. So all 365 episodes will be on TikTok. However, depending on what the video is, will depend on what YouTube channel it ends up on as a short. If it's a game, if it's like a gameplay clip, if it's a skit, it'll end up on Dark Avenger Entertainment. If it's more newsworthy or unboxing or stuff like that, like what I did with my Cody plaque, that will end up on here, Dark Avenger Media. So it's innovative, it's crazy, I know, but in a way, I know the shorts will keep me doing content on a daily basis. It'll keep my creative juices flowing. And my hope is with 365 to kind of get reused to doing videos again in a more scheduled format, if that makes sense. So it's kind of to motivate me to do more and also a fun project for all of you to enjoy each and every day for the rest of 2024. And if it goes well, we'll do it again for 2025. If it becomes a thing, we'll be doing it for the rest of our lives. Yay! So, what else is going on? So, last week, the first episode of Ringside Warriors dropped. Never did an announcement about it. Never did. I think that I'm really out of that stage of making announcements and more about doing the project and then talking about it later. So, as you all know, I mentioned this last year. I wanted to get back into doing a bit of podcasting. I wanted to get back into doing a bit of a few other things outside of just comic reviews. We're going to get to the comic reviews. I hear you. I know. It's been since the beginning. What happened from November? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the comic reviews. So, okay. So, we're in a new year. New Year's Revolution hit all the brands on WWE. And I said, this is a perfect jumping on point. I've been watching WWE on YouTube for months. I mean, since CM Punk came back, and even before that, when Cody returned to WWE, I mean, I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan, so I followed him. And so I said, this is a perfect time to bring in a wrestling podcast. For those of you that don't know, which if you don't, I'm surprised. But then again, there are some of you that are new, so you might not know. My friend Brant and I started a podcast for AEW wrestling mostly. We were doing the independents. We weren't covering WWE at all. And that was 123 Podcast. And we did that for a while. And then unfortunately, schedules didn't work out, or I couldn't get to watch a show, or he couldn't get to watch a show. It just, eventually we decided to take a break. And my life, things happen in life. And I couldn't come back to the podcast. And Brant did ask if he could continue the podcast, and he's doing an excellent job with 123 Podcast. And I figured if I brought a wrestling podcast back, I didn't want to step on his feet because he's been doing an excellent job with 123 Podcast. So I decided to bring, not 123 Podcast, I'm sorry, Aftershock Wrestling. Why did I think 123 Podcast? I think that's what we were originally going to do, but with Aftershock. So he is doing an excellent job with that. You all know what the podcast was called, but we were doing a wrestling podcast, and I didn't want to step on his toes with our former wrestling podcast, now his. I do a live show, and then for some reason it starts, the coughing and whatnot. So I decided if I'm going to do a wrestling podcast, I wasn't going to take the name of our podcast and do another one. I had to figure something else out. After brainstorming and a little bit of help with ideas, and then I took the names and I made my own. Ringside Warriors was what I came up with. The main cast, it'll always be me, and then some of my friends might guest from time to time. We might do some live viewings or live reactions to the pay-per-views, but the mainstay is me. So the actual Ringside Warrior is me. And then the reason I put an S is because I do have friends like my friend James who watch wrestling, who might want to show up on the show. And not just James, I have a bunch of other friends who watch wrestling, and the invite is always open for them as well to come on and talk wrestling, or that week's worth of wrestling. What the episodes are going to be is a week's worth of WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. And then if there's a pay-per-view, I might do a special for the pay-per-view just so that we can give the pay-per-view its justice instead of just mashing it up with the other weekly events. So there might be 2 videos or 2 episodes depending on what week. But that was my idea, and now that's back. Well, that started. Episode 2 hopefully will be out on Sunday, but I'm thinking it's probably going to end up on Monday again just because of the craziness. However, it's a 3-day weekend. Yay. So we're going to work on, that's going to be a weekly podcast. What's up, Knight? Welcome in. Welcome. So that's going to be a weekly occurrence. We have 365. That's going to be a daily occurrence, at least on TikTok. If you're not following me on TikTok, links in the description below. So, all right, I hear it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the comic reviews. I stopped back in. Hello, Comet. Welcome in. Welcome. So I stopped doing the comic reviews. I did all of October, and then we got to the beginning of November, and then December, and now we're in January. Boy, time flies. The holidays had me busy. However, I've been trying to do content to keep you guys in the loop because I still remember that comment of, when is he going to be doing another I'm Back video? I ain't doing another I'm Back video. I've been here. And the thing is, I had to take a little break from the reviews. And now I'm reformatting the reviews. I think I talked about this on the last Dark Avenger Live. However, we're going to talk about it again. And I think it's cool in a way because I have another concept. So as you all know, the comic reviews, I try to go a little bit more in depth with my reviews. We're going to be cutting that down a bit. We're going to be making the reviews a bit shorter. What's up, Firestorm? Welcome in. I'm sorry it's not a 3-day weekend for you, man. Sorry. I wish it was. I'll send you all my energy for your work day on Monday. But the reviews are going to get a bit shorter. We're going to shrink the reviews a bit more, but I think it's really cool because I now have a hierarchy of reviews. For those of you that missed my short yesterday, I did a review of Ultimate Spider-Man issue #1. I didn't want to miss it because it was an excellent issue and I wanted to make sure I shared my thoughts. So I did a short, and I called that short a 60-second review. So I figure we can have a hierarchy of reviews. So for the shorts, there are the 60-second reviews, the ones where I really have to get all of my thoughts and review out there within a minute before the video is over. So there's that one. That's the shortest review. Then there's the comic review, which the reviews will be for each book about 2 to 3 minutes, which is a couple of minutes more, share a little bit more, have to worry less about time constraints. However, it's going to be a bunch of books in one video. And then we have comics and coffee, which basically is an in-depth review, which is a 5 to 10 minute video talking about one specific book. So that will be the longest review on the channel, and it's only one book. So we've got the one long review, the group review of all the books I've read in a week, and then the 60-second, we got to give a flash review type of reviews for the YouTube shorts. And I thought it was cool. I didn't even think about it until last night when I was saying, wow, wait a minute. I've got shorts, I've got the review, and then I've got comics and coffee. That's kind of cool. So there's 3 different ways I'm going to be reviewing comics on the channel. As far as when are the comic reviews coming back, I am not going to even disillusion myself to believe I'm going to do 8 episodes for the 2 months I missed, plus 2 more for this month. I'm not going to disillusion myself, and I'm not going to disillusion all of you to make you believe I'm going to actually post about 10 reviews in 2 weeks. I will say this. Out of all the books I've been reviewing, I'm still reading them. I'm still enjoying all of them. They're all great. Out of all the books I dropped, I'm not reading them anymore, so I'm not reading them anymore. Are there any books that I've dropped between November to now? No. Any book I've been reading, I have been reading. I've been enjoying them. The stories have been amazing. There's no book that made me go, oh, I'm done. This is over. None. However, there is a book called Crave that came out last month. It is an adult book. If you all remember back about 3 years ago, there was a book called Faithless. And I did a review of that book, and I said that is a book for 18 plus because there's nudity and sex and a lot of suggestive stuff. Crave is, I believe, written by the artist who did Faithless, or at least it's the same team doing a new book. It's good. It's very good. Not for kids. keep it far away from kids. It's a very good book, though. Highly recommend issue 1. Issue 2 just came out. Definitely recommend checking it out for those of you adults who are okay with adult-themed books. It's a good book. I don't know why I feel dirty. I felt dirty saying Faithless was good. Now I feel dirty saying Crave was good, but it's good. It's a good book. I enjoyed it, and I love the artwork that's in it. So anyway, by the time I get through this live show, I'm going to end up having to go for tea again for my throat. I don't understand why, but it happens. So the reviews will be back. However, I'm not playing catch up. Every book I've been reading is good. Every book I'm not reading. So when the review comes back, it will be for whatever week the review's back. I feel like Saga was like that too. Definitely not for kids. Oh no, Saga was definitely not for kids. However, I've noticed the past volume that's coming out now, every book had a nudity piece in it. This latest volume, not as much. Suggestive as hell, definitely, but not as much. Not as much. And I'm not complaining. It's a good story still. I don't like that spoiler for those of you that haven't read Saga up to this point. I do kind of hate that the father's dead. Kind of don't like that. I like the father. But I've been liking all the books. And I'm going to, I like to be transparent with all of you. I know you don't really care about the life stuff. You don't want to hear the excuses of why I've been busy or what's going on with the family or whatnot. So I keep this as a business front. So I'm being transparent business wise for all of you. Mentally, when it came to doing comic reviews, yes, I was busy, but and I know I talked to my friend Zira about this, and he's probably going to smack me later for talking about it because he said, don't bring attention to it. But I got it because you guys know it's hard for me. I keep quiet about a lot of things, but then when certain things come up, I got to talk about it. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room. So there's been a lot of drama going on in the comic community. A person I love watching on YouTube, Comic Book Palace, Glenn, he made a statement, and the writers on Twitter didn't like it. And the community, the two sides of the community started fighting, and the writers started fighting. And Glenn got super popular, which he deserves. He's an awesome guy. If you don't watch Comic Book Palace, go check it out. However, we all have our different viewpoints. I have a few different viewpoints than everybody else, and everybody else has different viewpoints from me. Again, all reviews are subjective to the reviewer. We're just here sharing our thoughts on the book to give you an idea when you walk into the comic shop what you might be interested in buying. Never will I tell somebody you must buy this book. I will highly recommend not buying books if it's real crap. I almost said shit. Well, there it is. I said shit. If it's shit, I'm going to say it's shit, but I'll never ever forcibly say do not. I'll say in my opinion don't buy it, but I'll never insist on people not buying it. It's my opinion. Every review I do on this channel is my thoughts and feelings on whatever book. You, the readers, the fans and reviewers or whatever, make your own decisions. I'm just here to share my feelings and thoughts on the books to help somebody maybe who's newer, or just because people enjoy watching me talk about books. Some of you are crazy like that, and that's cool. So anyway, the community's been back and forth, and stupidly, there's one person whose video caught my eye, not because of the video, but because of the comments in it. And this person is a person I've met multiple times at New York Comic Con. He likes to call himself the hardest working person. First of all, and it drives me a little crazy, so I'm just going to nitpick this first. To call yourself the hardest working person in anything is a bit subjective and a bit of an ego, because I could easily say I'm the hardest working single father in the world. Am I though? No. I believe everybody works either. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who works harder than you. There's always going to be somebody who works less than you. And then it's going to be people that work exactly like you. I feel like it's subjective and also a bit egotistical to say that you are the hardest working person in anything, unless you add a little asterisk that says, a self-proclaimed hardest working person. And it irritated me before. And there were certain videos on this channel where I said I was the hardest working Dark Avenger on YouTube. And I do apologize for that. And I honestly shouldn't have done that, but I did. Sorry. But this person went on a whole video about everything and how we shouldn't talk against forced agenda. We shouldn't ask for good stories because the comic companies and writers believe that it's very subjective to ask for a good story because come closer. Because the comic companies and writers, they would never release a bad story. To them, this is a good story. So for us to ask for a good story is subjective and kind of wrong, because to the writer, it is a good story. To the company, it's a good story because they greenlit it. Wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Maybe it is a good story to the writer. All the power to the writer and all the power to the company that believes it's a good story. However, the stories are written for the fans. Whether you want to agree or disagree about that, that's on you. This is my opinion. I'm sharing my opinion here. You don't have to agree with me. And I hope you don't agree with everything I'm about to say. That's what makes us individuals. However, a comic book, these things behind me, I pointed the wrong way because the goddamn camera is mirrored. These things behind me, they're written for the fans. They're not written just for the company, and they're not written for the writer. I mean, of course, you remember some of the writers that have done memorable things. Dan Jurgens, Death of Superman, for example. Jeff Johns, amazing run with Green Lantern. You remember Jim Lee, amazing artwork for Superman. You remember names, and that's what writers' goals are. It's to be remembered for doing something. So honestly, writers are looking to make a difference. They're looking to be the person that did fill in the blank. I did this to Superman. I did that to Spider-Man. I wrote this. I wrote that. And now it's canon. So yes, they do want to, in their mind, do a good story. But really, really, the whole point of writers and what we want to do, or what they want to do, is to make an impact. That's the goal, to make an impact. And to want a good story as a reader, as a fan, as whatever you are, that's for the fans to decide. Now, yes, again, I agree. No company is going to put out a shit story. They won't do that. However, when the fans read it and the entire fandom is talking about how bad a certain book is, or how bad the art is in a certain book, or how this does not fit a character, and you've got not, now there's always somebody who'll say that's not true. Again, all reviews and thoughts on books are subject to whoever's reading them. So for one person who says this book is terrible, another person saying this book is gospel, I love it and we need more of this. However, when 90% of the fandom is saying this is crap, and the sales show that this is crap, it's crap. Batman Detective Comics has fallen out of the top 100 sales thing, the ranking. Detective Comics, the longest running comic in one of the longest running comics in DC Comics, has fallen out of the top 100 spot. Don't sit there and tell me that it's subjective. Don't sit there and tell me that no company is putting out bad books or no writer is putting out bad stories, because the sales are showing. And then he also mentioned, and I'm not a comic book salesman. I don't sell comic books. I don't do it. I don't want to open a comic shop anymore. I did once upon a time. But to sit there and blame the comic shop owners for the comic shops failing because they won't sit there and shill books to readers. Listen, when I walked into a comic shop, I read Superman. Not going to lie, before doing Dark Avenger, I read nothing but Superman and Ultimate Spider-Man. If I walked in and the comic shop guy said, hey, there's a really great story going on in Batman right now. I mean, this, and that. First appearance. It's amazing. The art's great. I would have sat there and went, cool. But I'm not going to buy it because I don't like Batman. Or I'm not reading Batman. I really don't care. So it's not really on the comic shop owners. The readers know what they like. I mean, you could sit there and talk about stories in the comic shop until you're blue in the face. But if you're talking to a Marvel guy about DC Comics, he's going to sit there and go, okay, that's great. I'm not going to buy it, but I mean, that's great for DC. And if you're talking to a DC guy about what's going on in Marvel, you're not going to get a Marvel guy to buy DC books. At this point in time, YouTube and what we do on here, we like to talk about. Now, I love Marvel. I love DC. I grew up with DC, though. That is my home. Image and all these other places, Zenoscope, I love it all. Whatever I could get my hands on, if it's a story that I enjoy, a good story, I eat it up. And I love it. And I want to share it. And that's why I made this channel, to share the things that I love and to talk about things that are not going well. And the community is not going well. I hate to break it to all of you, but it's gone from a dumpster fire to a dumpster fire in the middle of a forest. And we're starting to all breathe in the smoke and we are choking. But to then say that that writers don't need to use a Bible, or don't need to think about past continuity and past stories, because once upon a time Superman didn't fly and Batman killed. Let's pick that apart a minute. I see your comments, by the way, Vegan. I'll get to you, I promise. Let's pick that apart 1 second. Comic books are not even 100 years old yet. Superman just celebrated his 85th. Wonder Woman just celebrated her 85th. Batman celebrated his 85th. So that means they've been in this world, for 85 years only, give or take. Now, again, I'm not even going to sit here and act like I can tell all of you I know this. Again, I grew up with mostly just Superman. So I have no knowledge of everything else, 100%. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. I don't. I'm sharing my opinion now. Okay. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, because it's my opinion as a person who started with just Superman and then grew out to other books. Superman didn't fly at first. Batman killed at first. The change from leaping tall buildings in a single bound to flight, the change from Batman killing people to not killing people, all of that happened within the first 20 to 30 years, I'm guesstimating, of Batman's existence and Superman's existence. And other comics, other characters have changed. If you look at comic books like you look at human life, okay? Comic books are born. They were born back in the late 1930s, early 1940s, and beyond. And they started like a pilot, like a pilot for a TV show. The idea was out. Here's our idea. This is Superman. This is Batman. This is what they do. And then over time, things evolved. Now, the first 20, 30 years are those are the development. As a person who worked in early childhood education, the most development happens in the first several years of a child's life. Such a comic book. I know I'm comparing a child to a comic book, but hear me out. These books are brand new to the world. And mind you, back in the 1940s and 50s and 60s, nobody took them seriously. They were funny ha-has that people read and then threw away. They threw them away, or they donated them to the army because a war was going on. Nobody gave a shit about comic books. There was no Comic Cons. There was no nothing. They were just funny ha-has. So it didn't matter to people as much. So the comic writers and artists, they had the leisure to really develop their ideas. They started it off one way, and then it evolved, and it changed. 30 years, 40 years later, now you're starting to get a character that's more developed. More people recognize the character now. More people have knowledge of the characters. And then 1970s, 1980s, here come the movies. Superman, Christopher Reeves. Before that, you had George Reeves on TV as Superman, who was flying. You had Batman, Michael Keaton Batman on in the movies, and then you had Batman the animated series. Now we're starting to develop here. So now it's not just a little idea that came out in the 1940s. Now it's something that needs a Bible, that needs a continuity to it. So yes, Superman leaped tall buildings at first. It changed in his teenagehood. It evolved, so to speak. And Batman evolved past what he was brought up to be. So now we're 85 years in. Would you expect a 85-year-old man to change completely? Would you expect that 85-year-old man to forget everything of his past and be something different? No, because now you've got a lineage. Now you've got a fandom. Now we've got the comic conventions. Now you've got the diehard fans. Now you've got people that get behind and are invested in these guys. So that's when history, it's kind of important. A writer should leave his mark on a book, because you want to remember people like Dan Jurgens. You want to remember people like Jeff Johns, who revolutionized something in the history of a character. However, you don't want to think of somebody who completely changed everything. Do I really have to remind you guys about the New 52? Do I have to remind you about 5 years of sludging through garbage from DC? where DC Comics really, literally was dead. And then DC Rebirth kind of gave them back that breath of life. The New 52 nearly killed DC Comics. And that was based off of what this person's saying, a completely revamp of all characters, not paying attention to any history whatsoever. F it, we're forgetting about it, we're doing our own thing. Do I need to remind you about how much that almost destroyed an entire company? And then I'm sitting here going, oh, you can't talk bad about forced agenda because then it makes people scared to do, oh God, why did the word organic agenda? No, listen. As a person who's part of many communities, and as a person who stands by many communities, yes, we should complain about forced agenda over organic, because the organic agenda or the organic way of doing things is the right way. Forced is just trying to put a book out, not a good story, put a book out to force something down the reader's throats that we don't want. So yes, I will stand here. I will sit here and still complain about anything that's forced, whether it be an agenda, a character, a major change that makes absolutely no sense. I will sit here and still say it, whether this person thinks it's a good idea or not. And again, this person's kind of in the industry, in the business. So to be fair, I kind of understand why he's siding with the companies over the fans, because he's part of it. So understood. But understand this. If things don't get better and the community doesn't start standing behind comic books again, like, really, and people stop fighting with one another, whether it be writer versus fan or fan versus fan or writer versus other writer or comic, whatever the door, if we don't stop with the gatekeeping and all this other stuff, there's not going to be comics anymore. The threat has been around for a long time. It's been a long time, this threat that Marvel's going to close, that DC is going to close, that this company or that company is going to outsource their books. We've seen Valiant close again. We're seeing IDW literally on a lifeline, and they're just sitting there and they're waiting. They're hoping to get to come back from whatever they're in. Okay. This is not a joke anymore, guys. This is not rumors. This is not something that's not happening. It's happening. Sales prices are proof that things are going to shit. And it's because no one is listening and everybody is sharing their opinion and everybody's fighting. And I'm sitting here trying to say, guys, we got to stop fighting, both the companies and the fans. And we got to start working together here, or else there isn't going to be a comic community anymore. There isn't going to be comic books coming out the way they are anymore. Now, do I think Marvel and DC will close? I still stand firmly by the answer no. Marvel has Disney money. DC has Warner Brothers money. They've got good money. They're doing pretty okay. But the sales are going to make the amount of books we read every month. And to be fair, I think Marvel should shrink a little bit. Because my DC stack compared to my Marvel stack, that's a lot of books. But anyway, beside the point, I don't think the companies will ever close completely, but we're in a point where things are bad. Things are bad. And until the fighting stops and this whole, you shouldn't be fighting against this and that. No, we need something. Now, I don't think we need a revamp back to the 1950s. So nobody quote me on that. I don't think we need to go backwards. You never look back. You have a breakup. You don't look back. You don't go back to somebody you break up with or anything like that. You move forward. I don't think going backwards is the solution. I think moving forward is the solution. And the people who are fighting to get things back to the way they were, that's not the solution. But the people who are saying we need to go into some completely revolutionary new way, that's not the solution either. We need something new, but we need to continue following what these characters are. If we erase who they are, we're not writing about those characters anymore. We're writing about somebody completely different. And why do I care about reading it then? Why do I care about reading Superman if he's not Superman anymore? Why do I care about reading Spider-Man if he's not Spider-Man anymore? And we all know Marvel's been putting the big middle finger up to us for the longest time about Mary Jane and Spider-Man not being married. Q Tevia, any second, Q Tevia in the comments. Any second. Queuing him in the comments. But you know, I think it's time for the companies and writers to listen and for the fans to listen to one another and come to a medium somewhere. Because mommy and daddy are fighting and it needs to stop. Or else, I'll tell you one thing, the hardest working people are going to be the hardest working people either on the unemployment line or in an empty community of no one. Just saying. I mean, it's real easy to be the hardest working person in nothing, if there is nothing. So instead, we should be all working together. Honestly, I don't see it as impossible. I mean, when I started this channel and when I started in the comic community, this was the most welcoming and wonderful community I could ever be a part of. And everybody kind of was on the same page for the most part. Now you got people fighting left and right. Guys, cut it out. And people who are saying not to review comics and ask for good stories, you're wrong. You're welcome to your opinion, and I respect your opinion. But that opinion, in my opinion, is wrong. And you're welcome to disagree with my opinion. However, I'm the one with this YouTube channel. I'm the one doing this YouTube channel. And this is how I'm going to be doing my reviews and talking about comic books. You like it? Welcome to Dark Avenger Media. You don't like it? Good news. I'm doing more stuff now. Because we also, by the way, speaking of that, moving away from comic books now, I started doing trailer reviews for video games. Dawn Trail, Final Fantasy XIV. Holy crap. Did that not look amazing? I am so excited for the new stuff coming to Final Fantasy, for the graphics update, for the new classes. I know a lot of artist friends are going to be happy with Pictomancer. However, I'm more happy with the double-wielding Viper. That it is going to be an excellent, excellent expansion to Final Fantasy XIV. And my first one at launch. Let's go back to the comments real quick because I see it ticking, tick, tick, tick. So let's see. Okay, let's see. They need to fix the status quo of Batman. As a Batman, well, a Mark, if you want to call yourself that. I dug the Dark Knight Frank Miller. Dark Knight Frank Miller was very good. Take your time. I agree. Thank you so much for that. Someone threw a napalm on the dumpster fire, and that's where we are at. Thank you, Firestorm. My man who's in, I'm going to say what faction of the Army or Navy you're in wrong. So my man who's in the service. I always forget where Firestorm's in. I always forget. I don't know why. I haven't been excited for a major comic since they did Thundercats versus He-Man. Thundercats versus He-Man was very good. It's in Superman thing, like the phone booth change. Oh, the phone booth change. I mean, we don't even have phone booths anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. 5G walked into. Oh, okay. You're just talking about missing something. Tim Drake. Wait, Time Drake and Alan Scott. Oh yeah, Tim Drake and Alan Scott. Well, Alan Scott, they kind of made it more organic. Tim Drake was just completely forced. IDW almost completely ruined the franchise so bad with awful stories and writing. Yep, the franchise. So G.I. Joe and Transformers literally were on the cusp of being erased from comics completely. Thank you, God. Our Lord and Savior, Image, one of our Lords and Saviors, Image, took G.I. Joe, took Transformers, and fixed everything. Thank you, God. I agree. Well, I'll be honest, Firestorm, TMNT, they're doing pretty good. They're doing TMNT pretty good. Yeah, Turtles they own. Crossovers need to chill. I agree. See, I told you I mentioned Spider-Man. Still working on Realm Reborn. Oh, Firestorm. There you go. U.S. Marine Corps. YouTube live chat. Dude, try not to spam single word messages. Try to get it all out in one. Try not to spam too much because I don't want you to bury other people talking with one word. So what else? What else? So we're going to be doing more of media. So as much as the comic reviews are going to be still around, the major comic review with all the books and the 60 seconds and the comics and coffee, we're still going to be doing the monthly haul until I can evolve it into what I dream it will be, hopefully within the year, maybe a little longer, depends. But for now, we're doing the monthly haul. And then we got the weekly shorts where I'll have the 365. And then we also have the weekly shorts for the hauls that I get from Midtown Comics. And all of that's still staying. We're adding more. We're adding video games. We're adding maybe some TV and movies. I did get to see Godzilla. It was good. Wasn't spectacular, but it was good. -1. 3 out of 5 stars. Being generous. My friend Zilla will hate me for saying that, but it's true. It was Japan's answer to the first American Godzilla movie. Except there was no Bryan Cranston. I think we're still doing good with Turtles. Yeah, Turtles are still doing pretty good. Because Kevin Eastman is still involved very much. And here's one of my co-hosts will be one of my co-hosts for Ring Warriors. Right here. There's James. James made it. Turtles don't need a fix in the comic books, especially Last Ronin's been amazing. Turtles, the last movie, needs to be abolished and erased from all of our memories forever. Okay? Okay. So that's all I'm going to say about Turtle movies and TV series. The last TV series and the last set of movies were crap. I feel like I'm in the dark side comic again. YouTube is. It's been a bad day. Oh no, locked your keys in the car? Sorry, man. So as far as walkthroughs though, I will be starting Dark Avenger gaming very soon. I'm going to be getting some Let's Plays out. And also I will be returning to Chaotic Falcon on Twitch. So keep an eye on Twitch. I'm not going to have a schedule for Chaotic Falcon. The Let's Plays, once they start, they're going to just keep coming. And what else do we got going on? What the card? I have so much Pokemon stuff. We're going to be starting that very soon because I need space. I have a lot of boxes. They need to be opened. So we're going to get to that very soon also. Again, it's the start of the new year. We are literally only 13 days. 13 is my favorite number. We're literally only 13 days into the new year. I'm trying to get my footing with all this other stuff. I'm going to do it all. I'm just going to try to do it at a pace that doesn't completely drive me nuts because I'm already mentally all over the place, as is, both with YouTube stuff and IRL stuff. So there we go. YouTube's is erasing my words on the live chat. Well, good news. You can watch us. We're live on both Twitch and YouTube. So it's a good thing you found me on Twitch, Tevia. But I'm going to work on many things as the year goes forward. But all the stuff that I've already promised all of you or talked about with all of you, it's coming. I'm just releasing things at a slower pace. Again, just finished the holidays. The holidays were very busy this year. November, December were 2 of the busiest months. And then I'm not going to lie, the whole point of that whole spiel about comic books, after seeing that video, I didn't even say what the point was. Now I will. I was just very highly discouraged. I was discouraged doing videos because I felt like, if I have no right to ask for a good story or to talk about when things are being forced, then why am I doing these reviews? Because the community doesn't even want to hear about that. Or that video just really deflated me, and it just made me question doing these reviews. And then I sat back one day and said, dude, you're the freaking Dark Avenger. What do you care what one person out of a million think? There are dozens of other people who are waiting for your reviews and don't think like that. So here we are. My dumbass is done feeling shitty about watching that video. That wasn't even directed towards me. It was more directed towards everyone. So here I am. The reviews will be back. Hopefully sooner rather than later. However, 60-second reviews can happen at any time. Same thing with comics and coffee. And I'm hoping to get some new stuff put on the channel, kind of revitalize it, freshen it up a little bit. And just expect a lot of different videos. We're going to be doing more than just comic reviews here. Keep an eye on Dark Avenger Entertainment. There's going to be some skits on there. If you're not subscribed to the TikTok, you should subscribe, because every day there's going to be a new video. There's going to be 366 of them by this time next. Well, more if I continue, but by the end of this year, there will be 366 of them. And you're not going to want to miss out on any of them unless you just don't care about TikTok. And if you don't like TikTok, don't use TikTok. Good news, they're all going to be right here on YouTube in the shorts. So if it's media, it'll be here. If it's unboxings, it'll be here. If it's entertainment, it'll be on Dark Avenger Entertainment. Go subscribe if you haven't. Especially with the YouTube shorts and things. Exactly. Gives people things to watch while I'm busy doing the major videos in between all of that. And we've had enough major YouTubers quit lately. I don't know why everybody's quitting YouTube now, but I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry, Mr. Whoever you are in the comments that likes to make fun every time I do an I'm back video. No, I'm back. I'm here. I've been here. I didn't go anywhere for too long. I've been putting something out to make sure you guys know I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm not dead. Dark Avenger Live. I'm going to try to get it on a regular basis. However, with less news in comics, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to do a top 5 or make up some type of a kooky subject about something going on in comics to have an excuse to do a DA Live. If there's something worthy of making a DA Live, I'll do it. If more and more people come in and want to start doing a talk like what we're doing here in the comments, and people want to chat with me one-on-one in the comments, we'll do Dark Avenger once a week again. But we're not at that point right now, so instead we're going to do what we're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a kid with a camera, and apparently I got a microphone. I think I'm doing okay. I've only been doing this for what? Wow, I had a brain fart. I don't know how long I've been doing this. It's well over 10 years. That's what I could tell. I could tell you it's well over 10 years. Okay? Okay. So I'm just a kid with a camera who loves to share his passion and loves to share videos and make people laugh. And yeah, exactly. We could go with this one because James was a viewer back when I was doing Brooklyn Boys. So it's been a long time. And I got to admit, I'm getting used to doing things by myself. A long time I worked with someone who's a doof right now, but I mean, if he wants to be a doof, he'll go be a doof on his own. So I'm getting used to doing stuff on my own. It's very different. It's new waters for me. Is it impossible? Nothing's impossible. Whatever happens, happens. I'm doing my best. It's just a new learning experience. You never stop learning, no matter how old you get. Trust me. I know. I've seen a 90-year-old man learn something new. You just don't have to be ignorant like certain people I know and not willing and open-minded enough to accept learning new things and just holding on to the old ways. Dude, time flies, man. I remember the first time I did a video on this channel, I was in a Green Lantern shirt, clean shaven. Oh, man. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I was stuttering throughout the entire video going, and I still do that sometimes, but I try to stop myself. If anything, YouTube has taught me a lot over the past 10 plus years. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. I wouldn't trade a lot of things for the world. That's one of them. But I do love doing this. We old. What do you mean? Where's this we? I ain't old. Wait a minute. Yeah, high school. I remember that. You were in high school when you did your first one. I ain't old. Don't say we old. Why are you going to do that? Don't admit we're old. We're not old. You're not old until you're 90. And even then, if you're a very, very active 90-year-old, you're not old then either. Don't say we're old. We ain't old. We're aged. We're well aged. We're like wine. We age well. Well, maybe your knees, but we age well. Everybody's laughing. It's not funny. No, not in your 50s. No, you're not old then either. You're just you are half a century aged. You're well aged wine. This is not wine, but it's close enough. It's Coca-Cola. I'm sure there's some type of a narcotic in here. Why not? I mean, the Coca-Cola company sure put something in here to make you want it. I should know. I love soda. I really wish I had coffee right now, honestly. I need some coffee. Nice coffee. Some caramel, a couple of sugars, a couple of creams. That'd be nice. After the live show, however, I'm getting tea for my throat. For some reason, I don't understand. I do live shows and my throat, I start losing my voice. I got to get used to doing these. I got to do more of them. I got to do more videos. I got to get my voice used to being used again. We're vintage. We're vintage. Hi, Sam. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. However, unfortunately, this is probably the end of the show, but welcome in for the ending half of the show. Had a big to do. You missed out on a lot of ranting. I would recommend going back and watching the video later just for laughs. But anyway, what I can say is expect a lot of stuff on the channel. We're going to be putting a lot of new stuff here on media. There's going to be some new stuff on entertainment. Twitch, we're going to have some more streams coming soon. Oh, no, that's okay. You don't have to worry. You can watch it post live as a video. So expect new things, expect old things, expect everything. Expect everything. Just expect everything. You want a kitchen sink? I'll find a kitchen sink. So expect a bunch of different types of videos. Expect the reviews to return. Expect all the old stuff that you've seen on this channel before to come back. Have fun with 365 because I know I sure as hell am. Next Dark Avenger Live, as soon as I have stuff that I want to talk about with y'all or y'all want to talk about stuff, join the Discord. Links in the description below. Join the Discord. Say, hey, Chris, I want you to make a 30-minute live show talking about this. I'd love to hear your opinion, and I'll come in the comments and we can have a talk. And I'll say, okay, I'll do it. Why not? You know, we'll have debates or something new that's happening. You got some news you want to hear me talk about? We'll do the live show. Speaking of things, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I knew it was coming. You need to use your normal voice more than my normal voice? What do you mean my normal voice? What normal voice? What do you mean? Are you talking about my normal voice like this? Or are you talking about me talking and having the accent? What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't understand what you talk about. Sam, what do you mean? Angry Italian's not dead. There's just no video for it yet. The accent's funny. Thank you. It's funny. I'm funny. I'm funny to you. I'm funny to you. The relaxed, deeper voice more than your project. So you just want me to sit here and talk like this more and just be more relaxed instead of talking loud. Does this entertain you, Sam? Do you feel better me just sitting here talking like this? Hi, welcome to Dark Avenger Live. Does this work for you, Sam? Is this what you want? I don't think I could talk in my regular voice too long without falling back into the... For those of you that don't know, that is my real voice. I just mentally go back into this voice. I don't know why. We're not doing dark. We did that once. It wasn't suggestive. It was just after dark. It was after midnight. And we did stuff, but we didn't do dirty stuff. We were doing gaming stuff. I'm A-okay with that voice. I'm sure you are, Sam. I'm sure you are. The problem is, if I start talking low, I start worrying that my microphone is not picking me up. And if my microphone doesn't pick me up, and people on the live stream are going, "Hey, could you say that again?" My brain is like a goldfish sometimes, and I can't remember what I said 2 minutes ago, so I can't repeat myself the same way. Just saying. There are times where my brain just talks. I speak from the heart. And when you speak from the heart, sometimes, you say it once, it won't come out the same way a second time. And I like being funny. It's fun to have people laughing sometimes. It's a shitty world out there. I want to make people laugh, have a good time. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Oh, news, here we go. Any plans on doing a comparison between Marvel's new Ultimate Marvel? No. Why would I do that? Why would I do that, Tevia? Tevia, why would I do that? Why would I sit here and talk about the new 52 again? The Ultimate Universe is actually good. Ultimate Spider-Man was spectacular. No pun intended. But it was good. I highly recommend checking out Ultimate Spider-Man issue #1 if you haven't already. If you have, feel free to share your thoughts. But it was excellent. I'm looking forward to this major event the Ultimate Universe is going towards. But anyway, that's it for this live show. Links in the description below for all of my social media. Doing a lot of stuff all over the place. You might want to follow. If you'd like to join the Discord, links in the description below as well. We have an awesome community of people, and I'm in there most of the time. We can talk mostly video games, but every once in a while somebody talks about comic books and we have a good time. But till next time, everybody. I have a short coming up, actually. Right after this video, I'm actually going to have to record that short. I just remembered. I almost forgot today's short. Look forward to a short coming very, very soon, as in the next hour. Till then, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see all of you really soon in the next one. Later, everybody.